My legs are my
Well, just don't do it.
Pretty much everything shuts down.
Just do none.
I will
Yeah.
probably work from home as much as I can.
He died off.
It's weird how they fall out. It just seems weird.
Yeah.
He's beautiful. I'll tell you, if I go over to once you get over the
Next year, Christmas.
North of Wawa.
Yeah.
Why don't we put it in June?
Right.
Like when you get a lot.
It's nice and warm. No, I like that.
Extra time in February.
The border. I'm gonna have to schedule some program. It's not right.
Just tearing the laws out.
If you're adding a day.
They're called rubbers. You know, then you get her up there.
Thursday.
Close to the wall. 25th they used to sit up and walk, just to see the dust come.
Yeah, now we have these years, we have these like
That's a walk.
one thing after the other.
But whoever came up with the extra day in February should have been court martial or shot or.
It really is one of these favorite generally, you have to say, February is great.
Every single year. The only thing that's good about February is the end of the month is a lot brighter than the beginning.
Right. It is great when you come off
The long time is.
a string of holidays. Thanksgiving, in some ways, almost seems like it should be more separated from Christmas. So there's a bit more of a gap there.
Why you stop saying stop black bear?
Figure out the vision.
Right. Because really, once it gets fixed, it's like the years. And that's,
You know, I used to, run benefits enrollment and stuff like that. Labor Day on just was like sliding down the hill.
right. Yeah, it goes fast. It doesn't stop.
We're going to get started here in about a minute and a half. Merry Christmas and season's greetings, everybody. Thank you for showing up. We have a code of conduct policy for our meetings. There's copies in the back if you need to review them. It allows you 3 minutes of public comment before the meeting about any agenda items that we would have, and then 3 minutes after for anything else. If you want to record the meeting tonight, you can do so, but please do so in the designated area that's marked off in the back. And in about a minute, we'll call to order. So thanks for coming.
They had activities or chairs on. And I had to move the ones up front a little bit. Because I can yeah. Gotta watch the deer.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. and Mrs. Ropetta, you were asked politely to go to the back of the room to do your filming. You're currently in violation of our meeting conduct policy, and I've asked you that you comply with that.
I'd like to suggest that we're not out of compliance because we're not including, to quote the requirement, we're as so as not to impede the flow of traffic, block exits, or the view of attendees. And I would suggest to you that I'm complying completely with not blocking the exits, not impeding the view, or anything that you're trying to achieve as a result of that particular order.
I'm going to ask you to please go back to the room in the designated area if you want to record tonight.
In the future, will you be providing adequate sound projection so that cameras and/or recording equipment can pick up the meeting and the meeting audio from whatever designated area in the southeast corner that you're designating?
Are there not speakers back there?
You can't hear
You can't hear back there anything. And it's not reasonable to direct me to an area where nothing can be heard, especially when the intent is to not block the exits or the view of attendees, which I'm complying with. But if there's adequate speakers, I'd be happy to do that, if there's a sound system that can be provided by the township.
I believe there is a sound system, and we will look into it, but tonight you will be back in the area.
Can we make an exception because you don't
No.
have an adequate sound system until that adequate sound
We're not
system is
required by
put
law
in
to do that,
place?
so
Is that an unreasonable request?
I'm going to give you one more chance to go to the designated area, or I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Can we switch off so that he can come make a public comment?
As long as you're in that area, that's fine.
Has this been changed, the wording, since it was first designated?
This was the resolution that was passed by the township board.
And it's not been changed?
It has not been changed.
So even though you're not required by law?
This is not a debate, this is a request.
Yeah, because it's a dictatorship, that's what it is. You want to go back, or I'll go back?
Just to let you know, I'm going back with a reasonable request, which you haven't satisfied, so please put that on public
Tonight.
record.
Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Sure. Zach Tucker,
Here.
Kurt Schultz, Jennifer Eden, here. Mike Cunningham,
Here.
David Walker,
Here.
Herman Ferguson,
Here.
Pam Loeffler, here.
I'd like to make one deletion from the agenda. I was expecting to get some additional information regarding the electrical house plan. So item 3, I'd like to remove from the agenda. And being that there are no other changes, I'll entertain the motion.
So, support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the agenda is approved. Next, approval of the consent agenda. The regular board meeting minutes from November 21, 2023. The treasurer's report from November 30th, 2023. Clerk's warrants and bills from December 14th, 2023.
So moved. Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Communications, we have 2. We have the Livingston County Sheriff's Report dated November 30, 2023, and the Heartland Senior Center Annual Report dated 2023.
So moved. Support.
It's been motioned and supported to receive communications and place on file. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. This is the first time for public remarks. If you have any comments, please either stand in front of the table or sit at the table, address the board. This is about items that are on the agenda, and you'll have 3 minutes.
I know you're talking about the agenda, but why did we take this off the agenda? Are we seeking more bids or?
No, the bids just weren't what they needed to be, so I was expecting that I'd be able to get it clarified by,
Okay, I'm just curious. I mean, I know you didn't get too much into detail. All right, another thing is, we do need better sound systems in the back. Because I remember, it's not for recording. It's where someone's up here talking this way. the other day at the planning commission meeting, I asked someone to speak up, we couldn't hear him. I'm loud, so, and the TV here is tilted, so if you're back past me, you can't see nothing. And sometimes I know it's hard to see the TV up here, so I don't know if in the future if we get a little better sound and some more picture back in the back here. So other than that, I think everything looks good, so thanks, guys.
Sure, thank you, Scott. Next. Yes. Mike.
Thank you. Mike Aarons, 1365 North Allstott Drive, Howell, Michigan. I'm Vice Chair of the Board of Public Works, Livingston County Board of Public Works. And we just want to express our appreciation for your putting this item under new business on your agenda. Hopeful that a mutually agreeable arrangement can be achieved, but at this point, we just want to thank you for considering it. We do happen to have Frank Irvin, our Deputy Drain Commissioner, who heads up the Livingston Regional System and the Septic Receiving System. And we also have our attorney, John Brennan, here, just in the event that questions may come up that might require a legal aspect that might help facilitate discussion. So just wanted to thank you for that. That's the only reason for it here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? Yes?
My name is Jeanette, Tyrone Township. I also represent the Watch Group, which is, I think, about 350 people now. I'll be commenting on an item on the agenda, at the top of the agenda tonight. At the very top, it says, unfinished business, none. I beg to disagree. One only needs to recall past board meetings, even go through meeting minutes, and find there's all kinds of unfinished business. For example, we've not seen quotes for the septic field, an issue that was identified by a resident having been long neglected, and that was identified quite a while ago. The funding that's needed for the maintenance of the old townhouse building, that's been put off forever. The discussion about the funds for the future improvements for the old townhouse, that's an old issue also. Where's the discussion about the mice issue in the pole barn? The barn where voting equipment has been stored and maybe is still stored, I don't know. But most people know the horrible damage that mice do to a building. Why isn't that being taken care of, or at least why don't we know about it? And last issue I'll mention, although there are many more issues that haven't been addressed. And this one is the gravel train problem going down Hogan Road. There was one resident not too long ago who stood where I'm standing and said, the response to her was, come on in and talk to me about it in your office. So that's an open issue. That's not unfinished business. So the claim that there's no unfinished business is false, and therefore the agenda is not only inaccurate, it is the source of misinformation. I call on the board members to start keeping a spreadsheet on these issues and demand to know their status each and every meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else? Being that there's none, we'll move on to new business. Sewer RU discussion. I put this on the agenda because there's been some questions that have been asked and a request by future developers, and not only them, but the Board of Public Works, and about our fees on our RUs. The history was that when there was a fee schedule that was originally put in place, and the RUs went up $500 every year. And I believe the intent of that was to entice people to purchase RUs. Well, you can see how well that worked for us, and has continued to work for us. We've got basically $2.5 million loaned out of our general fund to make our bond payments, which we're in a position that we don't have to do that anymore. And those RUs are probably the highest costing RUs in the state. And there's been a request that if somebody were to buy bulk RUs, would we offer discounts? You know, go to maybe a tiered system with the RUs. I know that we share the system with Heartland, and our schedule, they're still at like 9,500 in REU, 9,000 in REU, and we're 14.5. One of the reasons why the drain commissioners is requesting this is because they have to purchase a lot of REUs. There's another option that they could do, is not buy our REUs, use that money and run another pipe because they're a public entity and they would have access to the right of way, and then just bypass us and then buy REUs directly from Genesee County. So that's their request to see if we would possibly go to a term thing. Another request that they had was some type of deferment on purchasing large quantities, maybe some sort of payment plan arrangement. It's things that we've done in the past. I know when Lake Tyrone went in, we charged them the same rate as Heartland for their REUs. So I just want to know if it's something the board would even consider before I put some sort of proposal or plan together to bring it to the board.
So a couple of questions.
Sure.
Obviously, we have a finite number of REUs. What's our number available? Remind me, I don't memorize it.
We have more REUs than we have parcels. I think we've got, what do we have, Jennifer? 6,400 or something like
Is
that?
what we originally had, and we
Okay.
used 15.
But obviously, there's a finite number, right? There's only so much capacity, so there's a
Yes.
finite number.
Sure.
of REUs. Okay.
Well, and the sewer system is, it only goes in certain areas, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
I don't think the whole idea is to expand the sewer system and force every resident to hook up to it.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and then the other question.
The system was actually brought in to bring businesses to our community.
So my only question regarding, it's a tangential question, but it's still appropriate, I think, is the question is, given the fact that we haven't really finished our master plan, would it be more appropriate for us to do this after, or are we?
So, I'm trying
I mean,
to,
so-
why would you think that? I mean, I'm just trying to.
So if the master plan changes, what would the impact be of the number of REUs we'd need for future potential? I'm just asking.
The sewer line or the system, the residents on there is not changing.
Okay, so that number is not changing?
Right.
Yeah, and
Unless whoever builds on like the 23 corridor or wherever that's already slated to have sewer.
Okay, okay. So those are already?
Already set.
Yeah, and most of them already been purchased.
Okay,
They were
so
already
there's-
allocated to the properties and purchased.
Okay,
Most all the properties along the 23 corridor, all the way up to White Lake, and even some of the parcels, two of the parcels north of White Lake have already purchased their
so is
houses.
it possible we have, what you're saying is we have excess REUs based upon the potential building capacity in the township?
As it looks, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a way to get an opinion on what that potential building capacity looks like? Or is that something we have already?
I think that'd be a great question for our engineer. I think he'd have to look at potential, do some sort of study, but I mean, what are the assumptions? You know, do the assumptions based off of our master plan, what's already purchased? I don't think there's a strong chance that we would ever be in that situation. You know what I mean? And then we also have to figure out is, you know, what, we still don't know, once we pay off our bond, how does that work? You know, so that's, we'll have to get with the bond attorney and figure out how that works too, so, but we're not quite there yet, so.
Right.
At the present rate, when are we expected to pay the bond off?
We have two.
2038. We have 3
Or we paid one off right
paid
now.
off. We already paid one off in April.
And then we have one, I think it's 2028 and then 2032, 2038, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. 38, 35. I think it's 35. 2035. So potentially, we can pay off our bonds, and then, but we still owe 2.5 to the general fund too, as well.
That's the money we've loaned, that's money we've loaned in the past, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. General
okay.
fund, yeah.
Well, it doesn't, I guess, it doesn't hurt to look at it. I mean,
Right.
in fact, it probably makes more sense to undertake the study. You don't know what you don't know yet, so undertake the study and let's ask the engineers and let's talk about it.
What's the interest rate on that?
By the way, I'm just one guy.
That's where I'm at with it too.
Don't do that. That's a really bad idea. That's my one.
You know, and Hamburg just did something recently with their RU taps for their water. So their water taps are $4,500. If you buy 6 to 9, they're $4,000. If you buy 10 to 49, they're $3,500. If you buy 50 to 100, they're $3,000. So.
I think in larger quantities, it makes sense to reduce it, because then you're pulling businesses in, right? We can, by resolution, change the price of an RU or make a...
You know, and I guess the question is, you know, do we want to do it just for the Drain Commissioner's office? Do we want to extend that to anybody that does a mass purchase?
I think it would have to be a mass purchase of anyone. It doesn't matter who.
So I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
We can't be discriminatory.
No, well, yeah, that's why there's 7 of us, right?
Mike, there wouldn't be any, like, danger in selling too many. We already have enough. If there was, could we ever buy any back if we needed to?
It's not being used, probably.
I'm sure that if I were to pick up the phone and ask some of our residents right now, like Wilson LaHood, hey, you want to sell some RUs? I think he'd be down here, you know,
Be flying through.
Right.
carrying them with them. Let's go. I think there's other properties where they were put on where people would sell them.
Well, it's good that we have that.
And we do have that written in our sewer ordinances that we can purchase RUs from landowners if we need to.
Okay.
You know,
But why would we buy something we already have?
well, we've sold the capacity of RU.
Okay.
So basically what it is, you know, we put the infrastructure in, there was so much capacity, it cost us money,
Right.
that's what the RU cost related to.
Yeah, I get that.
And, yeah, so if somebody wasn't gonna use their capacity anymore, or never did use their capacity, we could purchase that capacity back. But I hear what you're saying, we've got so much capacity, why would we ever
Why
buy
would
it?
we buy it back?
But if we ever ran out, I'm sure that there'd be more.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know what it would entail if we ever needed to get more from Genesee County. You know, it might include a plant upgrade, it might not happen, we might have to, you know, seek something else.
Sure.
Okay, well,
Let's look at it.
start working on something and bring it to future meetings, and I'll kind of ask Phil, or I will ask Phil and see if he has any way of determining, you know, what, based on our current master plan, our RU count, what's our potential amount of allocated RUs we need to have. And I know there's a lot of unknown variables there, and I don't know if they have ever done anything like that or have a formula for it, but it doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Sounds good.
Item number 2 is approval of the wage increase for the election inspectors. Pam, did you want to take that?
Yes, so,
Speak loudly, too.
okay. So for an average election day, our chair people are working 15 and a quarter hours. The inspectors are working 15 hours. That's a minimum. From 5:45 a.m. or 6 a.m. Close the polls 8. By the time you close everything down, you're at bare minimum 9 p.m. So what we're paying our chair people now is $225, which equals $14.75 an hour. Our inspectors, we're paying $160 for that full day with a minimum of 15 hours, and that equals $10.66 an hour. We are one of the lowest paid townships. Raising it to $18 per hour for chairperson, $15 for inspector, is putting us at the lower end of where other townships are. So I feel with our 9 days of early voting that we really need to increase our wages so we can retain the experienced chair people that we have. Early voting, we will also need people for those 9 days, so I'm asking you to set that rate at $15 an hour. They will be there at least 9 hours per day. We will also need 4 of them per day.
Is the training still fixed at $25
Yes,
a day?
yes,
Okay, that's
yes.
what I thought.
It's still the
just
same
wanted to-
training. Most individuals are willing to go to that for that amount.
So, I mean, you're at the granular level, so if, assuming this, the usual number that you need to put together an election, both, is it same for general as opposed to the purchases?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Okay, so it's the
Yeah.
same number of bodies?
Yes.
So what's the global impact? What's the net change in the budget by making this change based upon all the past warm bodies we've used in the past?
Well, it just depends how many elections you have, like this year.
No,
you
yes,
know,
I guess that's my
you know,
question.
3.
Per election?
Per election, not even $1,000 difference.
Oh, okay.
It's minimal.
Okay. Per election? Okay. Okay.
I make a motion, we accept the raises.
Second.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the wage increase for the election inspectors. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. We removed item number 3. We're moving on to item number 4, IT service bids. What spawned this, we'll go over it again, is that, we had a company that was bought out by a larger company, and they sent over a contract with a large increase. I thought we were getting off pretty cheap with our previous company originally, and just very unhappy with the new company service, very hard to reach. So we put it out to bid, and what we did is we actually vetted companies that have experience with municipalities. 4 of them came in and met with us. 3 of them submitted proposals. Image Tech, VC3 is the company that we are currently with, and then Man Technology. We felt that Image Tech and Man Technology were the 2 of the better. Actually, Man Technology didn't just submit their proposal. They came in and went over their proposal, explained everything, went over everything in detail with us, explained the security improvements, and we're going to have some major security improvements with software plans and what have not that they have that we weren't getting with VC3. They even offered to have a tech on site if need be for elections, which I think is fantastic. And after, all said and done, got the numbers on a piece of paper here. Yep. VC3 was $955 first year, $1,360 the next year. Image Tech was $2,167, and Man Technologies was $1,757 a month. But then there was a per user
Yes, that's with that.
rate with that. So
Well, the quote was $1,388 plus
Right.
the user I
Yeah,
added it to
yeah.
it. So totally is 17.
So it's $1,750. It's cheaper than Image Tech, and I think that we're going to get better service from Man Technology. They also do Osceola Township and have done it since 9/11. And that Osceola said they were, or not Osceola, Green Oak said they were fantastic. So I would like to make a recommendation to the board that we use Man IT as our new IT company.
Just for, I'm just scrolling here, so it's going to be easier for me just to ask you. How long is this contract?
They're annual contracts.
Okay, so it's just strictly on an annual basis, and it's not an evergreen, it just, they have to come back and review and renew it. My point is, We're gonna check them every year to see the credibility, right?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's all I need to know.
I know enough about IT to be dangerous, so take this for what it's worth. Is there anybody who's doing and this is fixed cost, is there anybody that's billing hourly for service, and would that be a better arrangement by chance?
They all have some sort of contract, and then there's some a la carte stuff, I think, that they do hourly, but I think that, after vetting them and sitting down, that they're the right company for us.
I know IT as a whole, everybody wants everything to be subscription, so
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me, but I wanted to ask the question.
Well, the ideal situation is you get a company that comes in, they get you the right equipment, they get you up and running, and you don't call them maybe but once or twice a year. In which, when you're having a company that you're constantly calling, then there's a disconnect.
Okay.
Did they discuss at all the ransomware?
Oh, yeah. big time.
Okay, because there have been several local municipalities who have been hit with ransomware in the state of Michigan. And so I just wanted to know if you
Yeah, we'll have
comfortable with
extra
that.
security for that.
Okay.
You said there's 3 layers.
Yeah.
And since this is a one-year contract, is it renewable each year?
Yes.
And then the other question is, the rate at the renewal is up to them, correct?
Yeah, it could change every year.
Okay. Because the other one, the one we have currently has had an escalator clause in it that was just not a good thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be bad if their service was good, but when you call them for help and they don't call you back till the following week.
No, that's not good.
No.
So do they have a guaranteed response time and for everything?
They said that they handle most all their calls. Well, it depends on the level of the call. If it's a priority call, they'll handle it right away. If it's, just a medium priority, they'll handle it in a couple hours. Low priority, they'll try to get with it within
Yeah.
48 hours.
Because you don't want them calling next week for stuff that you need now.
One of the partners in the business lives in the township too.
Okay. Well, if you guys are comfortable with them, I see no reason not to go with them then.
So is that the motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, support. The motion is supported to accept Man IT contract for IT services. Any further discussion?
Just, Zach, it's anecdotal and it's private sector versus public sector, but I can tell you, having bought that service both ways, hourly and on contract, the hourly killed us. So the answer is contract for fee. Guaranteed fixed cost contract is way better than the hourly that we got
Effective date.
offered on for 2 years.
Oh, we're gonna call them right away.
So,
We had a 60-day out with our last IT company, so I'm expecting it'll transition over in the next month.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. We have no miscellaneous business. Last call to public.
I got a bunch of here. Scott, here, okay. Who decided the amount of RUs we needed? Was it the county or did we decide that?
That was the township purchased that a long time ago.
Who decided how many we needed? Was it the county put that on us?
No.
We did that? So, so we set the price as well at 14,000, right?
Well, it was tiered. Remember, he said
It
it
was tiered.
started at a threshold and went up.
It went up, okay,
$500
all right, that's what I'm just asking.
Scott, this is public comment. If you got a lot of questions, give me a call tomorrow and I'll go through.
Okay,
I'll go through.
they're really quick, just a couple more.
Some of it takes.
All right, that's fine, I'll try not to do it.
Okay.
Let's see, I'll ask Kevin tomorrow. Okay. We had the planning commission meeting the other day. Satellites, there was a lot of questions, and even the planning commission, you guys didn't bring it up tonight, Kurt, and I don't know if you did, you guys discuss this, I know the workshop was canceled. So, and I know there was a lot of concern over questions, and I'm concerned with throwing things back and forth between the lawyers, back and forth. I think it would be more cost effective. And I think a lot of people did in the planning commission, that we have the lawyer here to answer their questions and answer a few from us. That would be a good idea. So I don't know if Kurt's probably discussed that with you already, but I think there was an overwhelming response from the planning commission members and the community. Satellite service. We had, I noticed the paper, I let my wife to the paper out. I see they were contracting a new satellite service north of us. Linden, and have you heard anything on that? I think it's just kind of streaming, and Linden's getting involved. I know we were told we couldn't be competitive from the state when, Bob Azat was here, because questions we asked about that. Their contract, looking into contracting with somebody else. So it sounds like doors are opening. So we can I'll see if I can find that article, but I would like to see if we can get some better competition in the area from what we got. It was in the Tri-County Times, I lost it, I'm sorry. But anyways, yeah, I'm just concerned, I just had some questions on that. There's a bunch of them, but I'll call you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but yeah, tomorrow. No, you guys are closed. No. I'm all right, it's Christmas, it's just. It's Thursday. All right, Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Merry Christmas to you, Scott.
Good evening, my name is Julie Harb, and I live in Plymouth Township, but I'm here tonight to speak to you regarding concerns about a landlocked parcel of property that is north of Foley Road and west of Grand Summit Drive. There are 69 farm animals being hoarded on that property. I believe that you were made aware of this situation in early September and took action finally in November by filing a lawsuit against the owner and property of the property and the animal hoarder, Melissa Borden, from the devoted barn. Thank you for finally taking action. We're hoping that the court will soon move forward with the temporary restraining order so that they can remove the animals from the woods where they are without electricity, running fresh water, and proper shelter. These animals deserve better. The state visited the property, the state vet visited the property, and did a check on the animals and was unable to complete a thorough investigation. Some of the animals had injuries that needed to be pointed out to the owner, Ms. Borden. Some were emaciated and some were not mobile and could not get up. We are very concerned about the welfare of these animals who are definitely not living their best lives out there in the woods in the cold. Action needs to take place right away. At every location, 6 in total to my knowledge, that the devoted barn and Melissa Borden has occupied with its animals, they have habitually, knowingly, and with intent continually broken laws. These broken laws have led to numerous fines and lawsuits. Each community has had to use taxpayer funds to deal with the continued disregard for local laws and ordinances. Let's hope that your community does not have to spend too many taxpayer dollars on this incredibly sad situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas.
Good evening. My name is Tom Mullen. I live in Commerce Township. And I'm here tonight to share concerns over the issues Tyrone Township is having with the devoted barn. I want to thank you for being honest and holding the devoted barn responsible and accountable for moving the animals to another township without proper authorization or structures for the livestock, which I hope pallets, tarps, and plastic containers don't constitute proper acceptable housing. The devoted barn has a 13-year history of disregarding local regulations and rules until after they moved to a new location. It happened in Frenchtown Township, where quite a bit of time and money was required in an attempt to get the devoted barn to comply, resulting in the devoted barn being forced to move. They were then located in Rose Township, where Rose Township had to go through the process of getting the devoted barn in compliance with the dogs. That was a long, costly battle, resulting in the dogs having to be moved off property. After the devoted barn was evicted from Rose Township, the livestock were moved to Springfield Township, where the process started all over again. Now the devoted barn has the livestock in your township, and as I think you are aware, is a time-consuming and costly process in an attempt to get them to comply with the rules and regulations. The lack of care and concern and/or disregard isn't limited to rules and regulations. The devoted barn also has a history of lack of care, concern, and/or disregard for the care of the animals in their care. In Frenchtown Township, a pig named Wilbur was mauled to death by a pack of devoted barn dogs. In Rose Township, a dog named Maria, who was used to teach compassion and positive action, was attacked by another dog and ended up dying. Franny the sheep was attacked by a dog with a high prey drive and 3 prior kills, which was the reason that dog ended up at the devoted barn. Franny died a slow, painful, agonizing death. This is just 3 examples of the numerous cases of neglect, care, or concern for the animals that are supposed to be living in a sanctuary life. There are many more stories just like this. This report, MDR report, proves that it's happening now. Animals don't have a voice, nor do they get a choice how they are cared for. Animals in a sanctuary are supposed to have the humans managing the sanctuary be their voice. As I'm sure you are aware, the voice of the devoted barn management is do the least possible, if even that. The manager has claimed the animals are happy, healthy, living their best life. But as I stated, this report proves otherwise. My hope is that the Tyrone Township will continue taking this matter seriously and be a voice for the animals. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Good evening. Frank Irvin, 2420 Lane Road, Hall, Michigan, 48555. Deputy Drain Commissioner with Lincoln County Drain Commission. I want to thank you all for considering the RU purchases. We'd like to take a look into possibly something something more formal and presenting to you from Work Over Works, kind of what we're looking at doing, what we're trying to do, and everything else, if you entertain that. We're moving very quickly on it, trying to get something going here over the next few months. So, time is of the essence on it. And just like let you guys know that. Thank you very much again for discussing it. And wish you all Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Very much.
Jeanette, Tyrone Township resident, and I head up or part of the watch group with about 350 members. This evening, before the meeting was started, I was approached by the supervisor, and all of a sudden we're going to enforce some resolution again, which I think is just horrible. You all know with the sound, you can't hear back there. What I'll probably do is try and pick up audio from the township's meeting, but you cannot hear back there. And I think it's horrible what's done. The devoted barn, I just found out about this, and what I'm interested in is why didn't the township, the people know about this? The lawsuit was filed on the 14th of November, and you guys knew about it since at least September 5th. This is our money, our lawsuit, the township, and you had a meeting on the 21st. I'm curious if even all the board members knew about it. I hope you did, but why don't the township people know about it? And if it hadn't been brought up tonight, would anybody ever have said anything about it? So I went and looked in the Livingston records, and guess what? The court date is in May. So what happens to those animals from now until May? And I know that they've broken several of our ordinances. Is there not something that we can do as a township to hurry that up? I know there was a TRO or RTO, what is it? Temporary restraining order. How does that get filled? And so these are questions that we're not lawyers, but you guys know the answers. So tell us what's going on. Is somebody going to do something to help these animals? It would be really nice if The supervisor made a statement on that and told us what was going on with our lawsuit with our money. Also, the planning commission meeting that I was at last week was completely in the dark about the lawyer that they're supposed to have access to. Nobody knew whether they could have a lawyer present or not, and again, it was a wasted time, in my opinion, and in the opinion of several people, because it was back and forth between the commissioners and the consultant again, where the consultant was giving legal advice. And again, he says, I'm not a lawyer, but he gives legal advice. He also does not want them and has advised for them not to submit the draft copy to the lawyer until he's done with it. That's not right. We want the lawyer, we want to hear his legal opinion, and we want to know the answers. And from the townships that I've spoken to who have had this same lawyer, law firm, in their meetings, they said that he is a subject matter expert, and he comes in and he answers all the questions. So why can't we have him there? We were told that this is a really tricky situation with having a moratorium, that you have to be very careful that you're showing that you're using your time wisely. We've wasted 3 months since the moratorium. Nothing really has happened. And the map that was, that big fiasco with that map changed. It's now encompassing sunken gardens. When did that happen? This is something that you guys need to take a look at, because at that level, at the planning commission level, it's out of control with that consultant. The people are not being heard. I offered them a stack of ordinances that our fellow townships have used with Foster Swift, the lawyer, having been involved in many of them, where they could have picked and choose and looked at them, and nobody's interested. Why is nobody interested in what the residents have to offer? So I'm asking Mr. Cunningham if you might make a statement on whether the lawyer is going to be accessible to the planning commission, if they can, because they didn't know, Rich had no idea if the lawyer was ever coming or not, and also make a statement on the devoted barn and let us know what's going on with that lawsuit. Would that be possible?
Comment, Ollie.
You respond to other people, why can't you say yes or no and inform us of what...
When the time is right, you'll know.
We say the time is right now. We want to know if the lawyer will be there for the next planning commissions or be allowed to be
I don't
there.
know at this point.
Is he allowed to be there? The planning commission doesn't know.
Public comment. Please finish your comment.
I mean, I think most people here find that it's a little bit unreasonable on your part that you wouldn't answer that. And so I will finish up. Obviously, you don't want to answer. Sorry, I'm having trouble turning the page here. It appears that there's an effort to divide this community, and it's succeeding. But the division is this wall that we're looking at. That's the division that's represented by this wall. It's the people
No
behind.
personal attacks.
I'm not personally attacking, I'm talking about the
You're
wall.
making attacks on the township board, and your time is up. Thank you for your comment.
It's gonna change.
Merry Christmas.
Do you really mean that?
Yeah, I did. Merry
Do you?
Christmas. Anyone else?
Hold on just a minute. Let me see.
Come on.
Anne Marie, 12271 Kearney Road. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas, Ed.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if we've had any luck trying to get the quotes for straightening out the septic field overgrowth, which I'm really concerned about losing our septic system here at the building, because the overgrowth is it's really out of control. So it's been a couple of months, and it was kind of on the agenda about getting quotes, but I haven't seen anything on it, so I hope that you can put that information out there with the quotes, so we know when that's going to be taken care of, because it's long overdue, to say the least. And also the mouse issue that I brought up many, many months ago. I even one time thought about taking care of it myself. I figured, no, I pay enough money in taxes. We can take care of that because that building is full of mice and they like eating electrical insulation on wires. So it's long overdue to take care of that simple maintenance job. All the door seals on the overhead doors are shot. They have open access to get in and out of that building anytime the mice wants. When I was in there cutting some wood up for the project for the Township Hall, I happened to open up the lid for the antique box where I had to slide in it to put the voting documents in it. I opened up, it was full of mice. They were all smiling back at me, and I waved at them and just shut the lid. So we're long overdue for some basic maintenance, and I don't know why those quotes haven't been available to our general public here and get this job done. It's long needed. We even have an expert here for clearing property and trees and all that, so he can make comments, you know. You must know other people. So I hope that we take care of that one day. It's long
I have your
overdue.
email address, don't I?
That you do.
I'll send you an email tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Hope it's on the agenda and hope we get that taken care of relatively soon. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Hi, Chris, Tyrone Township. One of the things I'd like to ask is, you had said that you were going to have the sound system working by the next board meeting. Is that correct?
Did not say that.
Said I'd look into it. See what's going on.
Is it possible to get notified whether I should bring my own microphone equipment to the next meeting? Is that reasonable to ask? Just if you've gotten it set up or not?
You can bring your own equipment, microphone equipment if you need. As long as it's in that area.
Well, no, I need a microphone up here so we can pick up the sound. That's the purpose of me asking for the public address system to be fixed.
I don't know the answer to that until I look into it.
Okay. I'd also like to point out too that according to your resolution, number 2A, it says persons wishing to address the board and commission on any item may do so by raising their hand when the supervisor or chairperson asks for public comments and waiting to be recognized. I just ask that you guys be consistent in offering responses. If you're going to respond to certain people, respond to everybody, please, not just people, because we all have questions, and I think it's fair. And I'm hoping that, does this only restrict us to public comments, or can we ask about items that you may be talking about by also raising your hand? So I'd like some clarification on that as well. All right. I do think that it's important to engage the public, our community. We don't have a sense of community in this board with this group of people out here called the residents. There isn't a sense of community. And I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just trying to make an observation. It's my public comment time. And so I'm hoping that you guys can help work on figuring out how to build a sense of community. This is the important thing for this township to function. It's not a board and us bystanders. It's a community. You're part of this community. So please work toward increasing the knowledge. And I'm asking you to have town hall meetings. You provide no way for us to have open questions or dialogues. We don't have town hall meetings, so we're subject to these little 3-minute monologues where we may or may not, at your discretion, get a response to questions we would have. So I'm asking you to consider passing a resolution to allow to have town hall meetings where you as a board can actually take questions and we can ask them of you and you would answer them to the best of your ability. Without these things, we will not achieve a sense of community.
Time's up.
Yeah. It's very respectful. Thanks.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Deanna Cipher, Walnut Shores Drive. I'm looking at your code of conduct, and the opening paragraph in here says that the policy is intended to promote open meetings without disruptions and the performance of any board or commission's functions without obstruction, impairment, or hindrance, providing a welcoming debate of issues considered in an atmosphere of fairness, courtesy, and respect for differing points of view. This is not a welcoming debate. We're allowed to make a public comment, and there's no interaction with the board, and I think that's wrong. You're not adhering to what your own statement says on this code of conduct. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Anyone else? Being none, we'll move on. We're going to go into closed session to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by statute under MCL 15.268H, specifically identified as attorney-client privilege written legal notice with our solar attorney. So I need a roll call, I need a motion and a roll call vote.
So, is it a resolution?
No, it's just a roll call vote.
Sorry. I'll support.
It's been motioned and supported to go into closed session to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by statute under MCL 15.268H, specifically identified as attorney-client privilege and written legal opinion. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes.
Herb Ferguson?
Yes.
Jennifer Eden?
Yes.
Zach Tucker?
Yes.
Kurt Schultz?
Yes.
Pam Alkler? Yes.
Okay. Those of you that want to stick around, you can. We are not going to conduct any other business. We've completed all the items on our agenda. The only thing that we're coming back in is to close the meeting, but as I said, you're welcome to hang out for that if you wish. If not, have a great holiday season and a Merry Christmas to everybody.
Was it appropriate to laugh at the last speaker? Glad about it on tape.
That looks awesome. That's good. If you want to glad you're live meeting you. I know you are. Hey, that's why I want to hang out with you more.